Hey guys, welcome to Dubalan. Okay, so imagine there is this application that you've built, okay, and then you deployed it to the production. So you have your first hundred or thousands of users. You're really excited about them. Your application is finally out, and then people are already using your application. But then you get this series of complaints from the user saying that, hey, application is not working properly. I'm not able to click things. I'm not able to type things. Whenever I click things, something happens. It doesn't respond. All these type of things. Basically, some UI complaints. So now, as a developer, you might think, what exactly is happening there? Why is this thing working? What might be wrong here? What might be wrong here, right? So the thing is, you have to think about what are the updates you're making there. Okay. So now we'll talk about such cases. The first case is, let's say before React 18, I'm talking about before React 18. Okay. So React 17, 16 and everything. So in React 8, 17, 16 and other previous versions, what used to happen was React used to update all your state updates linearly, basically one after the other. So let's say you have a state update here, here, and here. So 1, 2, 3 state updates. It is to update one by one and then individually. So one state used to update, re-render, another one update, re-render, another one update, re-render. That's how it used to happen. So hey guys, welcome to Dubalan. React 18, which is the latest version of React, released a new hook that's called useTransition, basically introducing a new concept for performance improvements. So what are we talking about and why do we need this performance improvement? So let's get started. Okay, before diving into the useTransition hook, we'll understand what is the problem first. Okay, what was the problem that we face or React team tried to solve here? The first thing is, imagine this application, right, that you built, and then you have pushed it to production, and now people are actually using it. Okay, that's great. You have shipped your application, people are using it. Now you get some complaints saying that, hey, whenever I click things, it doesn't work. And whenever I do this, it doesn't work, right? I'm not able to type anything. It takes a lot of time to respond, all these stuff. You wonder, what exactly is happening? Am I making a lot of API calls? Am I making a lot of processing in the backend? Okay, you tend to think all of these things, right? But there is a couple of things that you can handle, okay, to make this even better. Okay, and you might not know that this is actually an issue for you. Okay, so stick around the end and we'll actually discuss about these things. The first thing is batch updates. Okay, React 18, actually it is batch updates. Before React 18, 16, 17 and everything, all the updates you make for your states used to be individual, meaning linear. Okay, you know this trigger, right? So if you don't know about trigger, just click on this I button above. We actually discussed about triggers and renders and everything. So whenever you make a state update, your whole component re-render. So basically that's a trigger to re-render, right? So if you're using React 16 and 17, what used to happen was, let's say you have a state update here. Okay, basically let's say you have 3 state updates. Okay, so every state updates used to re-render. So basically you used to get 3 re-renders, 3. Okay, for just 3 state updates. Okay, and then it used to happen in linear wise. So one after the other. So basically 3 re-renders. But this was solved in React 18. So React 18, what React does is it will just batch it, it will group these updates and then just render it only once. That's great. Now, what about another issue here? So the another issue was, what if this state update is very lightweight, meaning it's very easy. Let's say people are entering their email address, and then you have to just update the state of their email address. Very simple and straightforward. But what is here? People are entering their search term. Let's say they're trying to enter some keyboard or something in your platform. They're trying to search a keyboard, and then you have this huge array of data. You have to loop over that array to find the keyword called keyboard, and then you have to retrieve the data. So it might take some time, right? So now this second state update is huge because it takes some time. Okay, now how would you do that? In case of, even though React is doing batch update, this will take some time, right? This will take some time. So until this is updated, this state will be pending. This state update is pending. Let's say this is something very simple. Okay, this state update is still pending. So how can you handle this? How can you handle this case? This is the very crucial case, right? Because user might be stale here. So your application might become irresponsive, and then user might face an issue because a huge update is being made in the background. Okay, so now how can we handle this? So this is where prioritizing comes into picture. So what if you can prioritize all the small updates first, and then you can run this big update in the background individually, like separately. That can be easy, right? That can improve the performance. It can boost the performance, right? That's what React thought. React thought like, oh, hey, why can't we do this? Why can't we update this, right? Why can't we update the small task first, prioritize the small task first, and then update this huge task or heavy task in the background, let it run in the background individually, and then we will run the small task immediately. So that's when useTransition came into picture. So useTransition, what it will do is it will prioritize all the small updates, and then you can transition or you can update this heavy update in the background. Okay, so basically you can let this run. Okay, and then you can just, in the meantime, you can handle the small updates. So basically, let's say you have the state updates here, 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 which is a big one. Oh, hold on. Okay, which is a big one. So what you can do is you can just run this, execute this, push this to the background, let it execute there, and then update this. So you don't have to wait here until this big task is completed. You can directly, keep it aside, let it execute there. You can just come back to it later. That's what happens in useTransition. So by this way, you're not blocking the UI. You're not saying that, hey, wait until this is completed. You're just saying that, hey, you work on yourself. I'll just be back to you. Okay, so that it's been executed and you can just come back and see what's happening. Okay, so let's see how to implement this. The first thing is I have a example here that is built with no transition. Basically, this has no transition. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to accept a counter. So a button that increments and decrements a counter. Okay, and if you hit plus button, the counter increases to 1. So then I loop over 10,000 elements. So 1 into 10,000, it's 10,000. 10,000 elements of arrays. And if you increase the value, which is to 2, I do the 2 into 10,000. I increment 2, and then I multiply 2 into 10,000. I loop over to 20,000 array of list of arrays. Okay, so we'll just run this app and we'll check it out how it works. Yeah, and dev. Okay, this is running. Okay, now we can see if I hit this is 0, if I hit 1, you can see I get up to 10,000 list of arrays. And if I click on 2, you can see I'm looping over 20,000 list of arrays. If I hit 3, I'm looping over 30,000 list of arrays. So basically, I'm looping over such a huge array, right? Such a huge list of arrays. And you can see the issue here, how the UI actually blocks. Look at that. Look at how the UI actually blocks. See? Look at that, how the UI is actually blocking, right? So as the number increases, the UI actually blocks. Just observe this. If I hit 8, you can see the state took a while to update. Even the button state took a while to update. And even this one took a while to update. The user might think like, hey, this is kind of not working. Right? This is kind of very slow. That's what the term you hear from the user, right? Hey, they don't actually give you the error. They'll be like, hey, the application seems to be slow. It's not working for me. It doesn't respond to me. They don't tell you what's the issue. They just tell you like, it's slow, it's not working and everything. So you might have to determine yourself. Okay, I mean, one of the issue with being a developer, you have to hear these terms and then break your head. And then you will just realize that they're just offline. Yeah, it happened a lot of time. Okay, now we can say if I hit 9, it takes a bit of time. If I hit 10, see there. See? Look at how the UI is blocking itself. It is blocking so that it can loop over the array and then give me the list. So basically, even though this button state is nothing. It's just updating counter plus 1. Counter plus 1 is very easy, right? So it just updates counter plus 1 and then set the state. So very small update. But even that takes a lot of time. See? I click on this plus icon, and then it takes some time to update the small state as well. This is how the UI is blocking itself. So how can we fix this? Simple. What you do is, let's see an example for transition. So here, if you can see the transition, I'm using a hook called useTransition. Okay, that gives me 2 values similar to array. Okay, state. What does state give you? The state value and then the function to set the state. Right. Similarly, useTransition will give you the Boolean state, whether if it's loading or pending. So basically true or false. Okay. If it's still transitioning, meaning if it's still loading, it will say true. If it's completed or if it's idle, it will say false. Okay. You can name it anything you want. I'm named that is loading. You can name it anything you want. Okay. And a function to start the transition. So if you want to start a transition, you can just use this function. Now, where do I have to start this transition? You have to start the transition in this set list. So basically, when you're running this array, basically when you're looping over the array, you have to set the transition, right? You have to tell React that, hey, this is a huge update. So make sure that you actually run this in the background. Just keep it aside. Okay, do not block the UI. You have to tell React that, right? So what we'll do is, I'm gonna say start transition. This accepts a function as basically a callback function. This is where you execute all your logic. Okay, I'm gonna paste this here, the set list where I'm looping into over 10,000, 20,000, more than 1 lakh list of arrays. Okay, list of elements in an array, sorry. And then even here, I'm gonna do that. Start transition. And then I'm gonna just move this. Okay. And then at the bottom, what I'm doing is, you can see no transition example. I'm directly looping over the map, right? But in order to improve the user experience, in order to tell the user that this thing is loading, okay, I'm actually adding a loading button here. So I mean loading indicator here. So if it is loading, meaning if it is still transitioning, I'm gonna just rename this. I'll just say is transitioning. Okay, if it is transitioning, I'll say, hey, it is loading, or else I'm going to just show the numbers. Okay, this will be very simple. This is simple, right? There's no complex thing. It's just like use state syntax. Now I'm gonna just I'm gonna remove this no transition, and then I'm gonna import transition, the transition example. Okay, now this was one of the issue with create React app. I don't know why I use create React app. I think like they're not. After just if you're getting this issue in create React app, the fix is that you just resave package.json. So just remove something from package.json. Okay, let it throw an error and then just undo it, and that's it. It will fix it. Simple. Okay. So now look at this. Now, if I click on this button, look at how immediately it rendered. So there was no delay, right? The counter immediately updated, but the list took some time, but it did show it is loading, and then it appeared as soon as possible. The UI wasn't blocking. Look at, just observe the button, and then again observe the list. Okay, look at that. Look at that. See? The button immediately updates. The counter immediately updates. But look at the list. Even though it's taking some time, it says loading. So the user knows that, okay, this is working and it is loading. Okay. Now look at that. See, but the button doesn't block, right? The button doesn't get blocked. It does renders, right? I can actually show that to you side by side. Let me do one thing. Let me pull up another window of this. No. I think I can render this side by side if possible. Yes. No transition. I'll write some styles here. I don't have CSS here, so I'm gonna CSS setup here. So I'll just write display. No, display grid. I'll use grid. It's simpler for me to handle with grid. Yeah. Again, this issue. Mess up with package.json, resave it. There you go. Okay, so we should be having them right now. Why is this thing not appearing? Okay. I think I might have to add a header or something. List no T. I'm really pissed off with Create React App right now. It's not maintained well right now. Okay, so you can see we have both the list. I'm gonna just try to zoom out a bit so that I can show you both. Okay. Oh, this is the zoomed out. Oh, there you go. Can zoom in a little bit more. Okay. Let me add some padding for that so that you guys can easily see it. Padding. Oh no, margin. Come on, Create React App. Okay, there you go. Okay, now we can see both. So NOT is not no transition and this list is a transition. Look at the example now. So if I hit plus, you can see. So now everything works because 1 is a small number. Okay, let's hit 2. Look at how it takes some time to update as the number increases. Look at that. So 6 is being blocked. Even when you click on the plus button, it doesn't update the counter immediately. It will take some time. Look at that. See, it will take some time, but look at this. So it's number 8. So as the number increases, the time of updating the state also increases, right? Look at this now. See, the counter immediately updates. See, the counter updates immediately, but the list takes some time. So we show the loading indicator and we do it in the background. Okay, look at this. See, even if I can just start clicking on the plus icon, the number increases here. See. Now, if I just leave it, this will automatically show me the numbers. See, very simple, right? See, but this doesn't work like that. If I just click 100 times or some numerous times here, it will take a lot of time to update. I don't know whether it might crash the React app as well. This is useTransition, guys, in simple words. You guys saw the difference between no transition and useTransition, right? And now coming to the use cases on when you can use this useTransition, when not to use transition. See, the React app crashed. React app crashed. That's how the whole thing is. Okay, so when you can use it. So do not use it for API calls. Okay, do not use it for asynchronous calls. useTransition is not meant for asynchronous calls. Do not use it. Okay, use it when you're processing huge amount of data. Okay, so for example, you make an API call to get all the search results, and then you have to loop over it. So use transition inside that loop. Do not use transition to make an API call and then to loop over that data. Do not do that. useTransition should be for synchronous data, not for asynchronous data. If you're making an API call, if you're adding something to database, or if you're doing some, I don't know, maybe in any asynchronous call, don't use useTransition. Use effect if you want, not useTransition. Okay, useTransition is not meant for asynchronous calls. It is meant for heavy updates. Okay, but let's say you got a result from your API call, and then that result has hundreds of objects in an array. Then you can use useTransition and then render or loop over that array. Okay, do not use it for API calls. All right, with that said, that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. And if you have any doubt, you can drop a comment or you can join our Discord. And if you're not yet in our Duo engineering program, please do join. We're building open source project for free and with free mentorship. I'll be available and then our team is available to guide you. We have 2 projects currently where we have a lot of things going on. I can just show you directly. What is this? We will learn art place. All right. So as you can see here, we have a lot of things going on. Many people are participating. We have already up to 10 pull requests already, 13 pull requests already closed, 2 pull requests, which is already pending. And then we have around 10 issues already closed. So we have 5 open yet. Okay, so we are collaborating. We are building a lot of things. Many people are collaborating with us. We're getting good response from your community as well. So if you're not yet joined our Duo engineering platform, please do it. It's a good program for you to build open source projects with real data and real use cases. Okay, so with that said, thank you so much, guys. Bye. Peace out.